Miles graduate from college. I don't mind milking applause for that. I had very little to do with it. But I love being a part of that. I'm a preacher. I'm a religious person, and it has all the trappings of a religious ceremony in a way, with all of the gowns and the procedures and the people speaking and the pronouncements. It's like watching 2,000 people get married all at once. And with all of the faces of pride and fear and everything else that you might expect with that. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. It's such a beautiful thing to see all of that hard work come to fruition. Our boy is 18 years old, graduating from college, and so my wife and I are continually overwhelmed by him. And we got to join with all those other parents who were just completely overwhelmed by what their kids did. So overwhelmed, so proud, so happy that we sat through that ceremony. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So proud that we listened to that graduation speech. You know the one, even if you weren't there, because it's the same speech. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to me go out on a limb and tell you to march to the beat of a different drummer. And carpe diem and seize the day and be different. And do not go gentle into that good night. And please keep your hands and arms inside the vehicle at all times. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las puertas. Whatever it is. It's the same speech. But we love that speech. We loved it when we heard it a long time ago, and we love it when we hear it now. Maybe we don't always know what to do about it. In a culture that prizes conformity, maybe it's not certain what action ought to be taken, but there's something in our hearts that rejoices at the idea that you're supposed to go out and change the world, that rejoices at the idea that maybe we can do it differently. Oh, that's beautiful. And I'll hear that speech over and over again. I don't care. Because it speaks to something that is eternally true. I'm comfortable with the paradox of a speech about doing it differently that's the same speech I've heard a million times before. I'm cool with that. I'm comfortable with those extremes. We named our boy Miles with that in mind. We knew him before he was born. You know how that goes. And that word, Miles, means the millstone, the unchangeable ground of existence. That part of you that, well, sometimes people break themselves against that rock, you know? Sometimes there's that truth that just comes out, and our boy has stood for that truth. Sometimes it doesn't matter what happens as a result. I remember one time he was about 3 years old, and he was holding my mom's hand, and they were walking across the street. And little 3-year-old Miles looked up at my mother and said, "You know, my mom and dad think you're crazy." There are certain things you can't take back or explain. But I love that truth, and I love that honesty. I love that unchangeable bedrock of existence that my son demonstrates to me. But Miles is also a unit of measurement. It's a journey. And so I love the fact that my adventure with him has been those two extremes, the unchangeable, timeless truth and the momentary things of existence. And I think it says a lot about all of us, how we deal with those two things, the water and stone of life, as it were. Who you are has a lot to do with how you deal with those things. And my boy has taught me so much. He's so much smarter than me. A day or so after the graduation, I sat down with him and we shared a cup of coffee and we had the what's next talk. Because I didn't know. He did. And I said, you know, it's not a surprise to me, Miles, if you feel kind of funny right now. I said, I saw it in the eyes of the people graduating. There was pride, and there was joy, and there was excitement, and there was fear. Abject, kind of fear. And not just about student loans, about the whole thing. And I said to my boy, I said, you know, it's not unusual to feel rudderless right now. And I said, are you all right? Checking in with you, man. Are you okay? Do you feel scared right now? And he looked at me like I had just asked him if he was from Mars. And he gave me the sweetest little kind of pat on the shoulder, as if to say, listen, old man, don't you know who you're talking to? Don't you know who I am? Because I know who I am. And I said, are you afraid? And he said, never once. He said, because I have been doing this and learning, and I know I've got more learning to do, but now I get to start. And that's exciting. And I realize that he's all right. He's not just going to be all right, he's all right. The difference between fear and certainty in any area of life is often the difference between, are you the kind of person who is interested in endings, or are you the kind of person that's looking for beginnings? Decide who you want to be. Decide what you're excited about, passionate about, what you gravitate to, what gets your attention. There are those people who look for endings. They spend their whole lives going, I can't wait for this whatever it is to stop. This movie, this conversation, this Sunday service, don't say that, this job. Can I just get done with school so I can go do this thing? And can I get done with this job so I can retire? Can I just get to that finish line? There are those people who go from finish line to finish line to finish line, and they are never happy. Because the problem with destination mentality is that nothing good, nothing true, nothing real, nothing meaningful, nothing fun ever ends. If it's true, it can't go away. The facts may change. The truth is true. And so if you're the kind of person who's interested in endings, you will continually be frustrated unless you get to that place where you realize that the ending is making room for a beginning. And if you sat through that graduation speech enough times, and man, I have. You've heard somebody say, this ceremony is a commencement exercise. And that word commencement means a beginning. Let us commence our lives. Let us move forward with this, whatever it is called life. Let us go and do. Let this be the beginning of something. Be the kind of person who is interested in the start, because nothing ever ends. This is important. There are those people who graduate from whatever it is, school or anything, a relationship, let's say, and they feel that freedom and they feel that excitement, and in their head that great Alice Cooper song plays, School's Out for Summer. And if you don't know that song, ask somebody older or younger than you. And they feel it, and then they go, but uh-oh, what? And in fact, not just what, but who am I now? Because my whole life has been wrapped up in school and getting good grades and checking the boxes and doing what other people expect of me. And that moment of, I don't know who I am unless somebody else is okay with me, can sometimes shine through. I don't know if you've ever been that person. I've tried it a couple of times. I don't recommend it. That idea is really scary. You know what class? What subject, what part of school really scares overachievers? Recess. They don't know how to play. They don't know how to just be. It's all about making somebody else happy. It's satisfying somebody else's requirements. And there's a time and a place for that, but it can't be your identity. There are those people who graduate from school and slide right into another situation where they're excited about being graded. You know what I mean? And they find relationships where they say, can you just get my act together for me and tell me I'm okay? And if I just do these things, I did my chores, am I a good boy? Or whatever. There are those people who go through life, they find a job that's not a calling, and they look forward to calling in sick. You know what I mean? They go to a church where it's not about this hole in my heart. It's about if I just sit in the right seat enough times, then I'll be okay, right? Because I checked all the boxes. I put the appropriate amount of money in the envelope. I'm cool, right, God? When you started out, God looked at you and said, good and very good. That's where this begins. This is not about getting okay with God. That's important to know. Let us not be the kind of people who require a grade in order to live. Let us be the kind of people who don't need a full schedule in order to have a full life. Let us be the kind of people who remember what summer vacation was like. Oh man, remember that? Now I know that there are some kids who are packed with activities. Like I said, time and a place for that. But you've met some of those kids and some of those parents where it's not about fulfillment. It's about we have to make sure this child is occupied at all times because life is a competition and we better win. And those kids look tired to me. And their parents make me tired. I'm not pointing fingers. But you know what I'm talking about. But remember what summer was like in those moments when you had summer? Remember what it was like to, let's say, take off on your bike or just go and do it and be that kind of person. My parents were only mostly interested in me as a concept, and so I could go away. And they'd be like, I'll see you at dinner, perhaps. And in my mind, I was Tom Sawyer. You know, you get to go and do it and just find out new things. Your job description for summer is just being. And it's not about sitting still. In fact, if you remember your best summers as a kid, they were full of activity. It's just that you didn't have a plan. You were just going to follow your heart and go and do and have adventures and explore and figure stuff out. And you were okay. I think when I think back to those summers, maybe I was bigger than I am now. You know what I mean? It's time to get back to that place. Because that idea, that summer idea, that thing that happens after you graduate where your job is just to be, is the beginning of every great revolution, is the beginning of every great invention, is the beginning of every great liberation when you say, I don't need something outside of me to tell me I'm okay because I know who I am. Maybe I don't have the whole story, but there's something in me that I'm pretty sure about, and I'm going to show the world. There is a wild, primal, true, crazy, unstoppable part of you that just wants to go and do. So, go and do. I mean, ask yourself, are you the kind of person who operates because of validation? Is that what you need? Do you need validation? No, you can't hear. You have two choices. Do you go for validation or do you go for challenge? Because the kind of people who need to have it okay for them are the kind of people who want to hold still, but nothing ever holds still. The kind of people who need validation are the kind of people whose power is somewhere else. There's some external authority, whether it's a boss or a significant other or an absentee landlord concept of God. If I need my life to feel like a steam bath where everything's just okay. I'm just sitting here and everybody's just going to tell me I'm okay and nothing ever changes and I'm validated in my current set of prejudices. That's not our church, is it? To me, church ought to feel like, you know those movies where the people are getting ready to jump out of an airplane? That's what church is like for me, man. The idea of, you know what, we're in this together. We love each other. We got your back, but here we go. Because life is happening, and the world requires something amazing. Because you are something amazing, the world requires you. Do you want validation? Or do you want challenge? That was good. That was kind of cool. I don't know what happened there, but it's very dramatic. I like that. Being the kind of person who craves challenge means I don't need to know how this is going to work. It means I'm okay, stick with me. I'm okay with the concept that God has a better idea. Can that be okay with you? A lot of people pray that prayer of God, listen, let me tell you. But that is a prayer that limits your capacity for miracles. God is all the power there is, but you are made in that image and that likeness, and that means that the universe cannot happen against your will. If you make a narrow window of your ego and perception about how God's going to happen, you will not be surprised. Let us be summertime people who say, you know what? I have no idea. Let's go. Let's do. Let us let go. Every Sunday night for a very long time, some friends of ours go to St. Petersburg Beach and watch the sunset. We do it every Sunday night. We've been doing it for a long time. And it started out with just me and Jenny and our kids, Miles and Raina, and now there's a crowd. And we don't have like a ceremony or anything. We're just there. And maybe we haven't seen each other all week, some of us, and we're just there and put our arms around each other and we say, how's it going? And the sun goes down and we clap. Then we go get ice cream. It's magical. You should go. It's great. It's great because you don't need fancy stuff to happen. You just need to remember something really important. And that important something is, you know what? The sun is going to happen whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not. In fact, the sun doesn't even set, really. We turn. And it's going to come around again. I'm going to come around again. No matter what goes on, there is a part of life where the universe has got this. God's got this. And I can go kicking and screaming, but it ain't going to make the sun rise or set any more or less. It just is. Celebrating the sunset is like saying, all right, thanks God, I got it this time. I might need a reminder next week, but right now I got it. Here we go. And I let go. And in letting go of that sky thing, that outer thing, I find something inside me that is bigger. I was reading Albert Camus, which is a fun sentence to say. I was reading Albert Camus. I should be smoking a pipe right now. But they made you read it in high school. Go read it again now, because it's really cool. He's amazing. Philosopher. He fought in the French resistance during the Second World War. He saw things that are amazing and scary and monstrous to behold. Quentin Tarantino level things. And after the war, he went back to his hometown and was walking through the town, and parts of it were familiar and parts of it were destroyed. And everything in between. And he was thinking about what he had seen, what he had done, and what he had been through, and the monstrous things that he had beheld. And he thought to himself, you know, I should feel sad about this. I should feel angry about this. I should feel something about this. But in this moment, I just see the sky over my hometown. That unchanged sky. And in this moment, I realized that that sky was with me the whole time. And that's how I got through. That there are things that don't change. And when we know that, we can change the things that need to change. And here's the quote. He said, in the midst of winter, I found in me an invincible summer. And that makes me happy because it tells me that no matter what pushes at me from the outside, there is something bigger and finer and truer and stronger pushing back. It is written, greater is he within me than he who is in the world. What I'm telling you is you have a choice about who you want to be. This is important. And I'm here to tell you something that means a lot to me, and it's this. You are not the things that have happened to you. You are not your achievements or the lack thereof. You are not the way that people feel about you, positive or negative, good or bad. You are not the things outside of you. And I don't know if it's something that you're carrying or something somebody sitting next to you is carrying, but I want you to know that there are people in this room who are saying to themselves, I am this way because of this thing that happened to me. And I'll never get over it. I will never get past it. It is the badge I wear, the scar on my heart, and I am here to tell you that you are not what happened to you. I give you permission. If I had any authority at all, here it is. I give you permission to let that go. In your mind's eye, face the sunset and throw it into the ocean if you need to. You are not those things outside of yourself. Instead, find a way to find that invincible summer, that thing inside of you that has always been there like that sky that you carry with you. There has been, if you really think about the moments of your life, your journey, there have been things that have not changed. A common thread through all of it. There's truth talking. There's God calling. There's spirit at work, even in the darkest time. In fact, sometimes it's hard to see in the good times because I'm not looking. But in the good times, the universe is saying, go do more of this. This is who you are. And in the bad times, the universe is saying, come on now, you got more of this. Let's go. Let's get done. It feels weird because it's not who you are. Either way, good or bad, there has been a thread through the story of your life. Find it. And when you find it, you will realize that it is time for you to start your summer job. Your summer job is the same one you had when you were a kid. Your summer job is go and be. Your summer job is don't worry about how it's going to work out, because that is God's job. Your job is to show the world that wild, unpredictable, primal hero's heart that you have. The world requires it. The world requires your play. Everything else can just go away. When you're still enough and quiet enough, you hear that call, you feel that pull, you know that there's something for you to go and be, some kind of power that you are here to speak truth to. It is time for your commencement exercise. I don't know how it's going to work out. Neither do you. Not your job. Set that free. Because, after all, freedom is a choice.